Hi, everyone. It's Brian Reddy here for the PCBB1917.com Friarcast Quick Hits. As always, I remind you that PCBB1917.com has their website, and we also have our Discord channel, which has free and paid options. Highly recommended to all Friar fans. Last night was our second win in a row and our second conference road win of the year. It's kind of nice. People want to criticize teams like DePaul and Seton Hall. It's not easy. Marquette had to go to overtime to beat DePaul at DePaul last week. Road wins in the Big East mean something. And I'm going to start by giving Kim English more credit. He's kept this team ready. He's kept them focused. We can see now Bensley Joseph, Jaden Pierre, Corey Floyd have been playing 30, 35 minutes minimum each of the last 5 games. That seems to be his core, or as he said last night, the team linchpins. And then guys are fitting in around them. Oswin has played very well, gets better every game. I'll talk about him before we're done. Kreist gave great minutes against Georgetown. But we saw guys like Rich Barron and Eli Deloria. They weren't playing, but they keep themselves ready. Last night, they both had key baskets that helped us. Justin Fernandez, had a couple of great games in a row. Struggled a little last night, but he found a way to give some contributions, and it's a key that he was ready, Eli was ready, Rich Barron was ready. It's a nice thing to see. One of the things that is forgotten is, Wesley Cadet, who was arguably our best player before he got injured. He from when Bryce ended his season after the DePaul game, Wesley had really picked up the pace, was averaging 12.8 points and 4 rebounds, and he was our best big man defender. He was guiding the other team's top 3 or 4, playing out of position, just doing a lot of good things. So hopefully we'll have him back soon. That'll only make us that much stronger. This brings me to I mentioned 2 of them, or 3 of them right there, but, we talked about our portal. At the beginning of the season, everybody had high hopes for our 4 guys. Then people were giving up on them, going up and down. But I think, now that we have a real volume of work to look at, Bensley Joseph has been all you could have expected from Miami and probably more. He's gotten much more careful with the ball, making fewer mistakes lately. He did have 4 turnovers last night, but, he's shooting the lights out. He's at 50% from 3 in Big East games. A real leader. He's the guy who wants the ball in a big spot. Really, it's hard to complain too much about him. Same with Wesley. People thought he might score more, but he's averaging 10 points a game. And like I said, he was averaging 12 with the competition stepping up once he got his feeling. And he's been a terrific defender, a solid rebounder. Exactly, the net total is probably as much or more than we were expecting from him, even if his point total is down a little. Jabri is another one. He wasn't an All-American. He shouldn't have been expected to. He wasn't that at Virginia or Georgia. But I think we see lately his true value. He's a guy who's not afraid to shoot. And when he gets hot, he can get on a roll. And he's very athletic, and he's kind of helped lessen the load of the problem from not having Wesley the last few games. He's been able to step up. He's, he gives a hard effort every time on the floor. And, I think he's had double figures the last 3 or 4 games coming off the bench. And I'm pretty sure he leads the country in being fouled on 3-pointers taken. So, but, that was big last Saturday against Georgetown because he made all 6 free throws on the 2 times he was fouled. Kreist, a lot of people getting very down on him. But, he's kept his head up. You watch him during the game. He's cheering for his teammates all the time. Very positive at all times. Came up huge against Georgetown. We probably don't win that game without him. Thomas Sorba was pushing guys around, and Kreist in the second half said, "You're not pushing me around." And, like I said, Sorba had, 15 points in the first half, and then went 3 for 9 in the second half when Kreist was on him a lot more. So, looking at it with a better volume, the guys we picked from the portal we shouldn't have been as critical as we were in November, as they are panning out a little better now. And we still have another 2 months of the season left, so, we still have good things to come. I mentioned we had 2 conference road wins. Well, we got a big opportunity Saturday. At the beginning of the season, I had St. John's pick second in the conference. It seemed like an overreach, but quite frankly, I was putting more of my faith in Rick Pitino than anything else, and he's done a masterful job. His team's not shooting well. They don't do a lot of things people want to criticize. Like Kim English said, there's only a couple of things they do well, but they do it so well that they win games. Anybody who saw the game last night against Georgetown before the Friars started, it was over in 10 minutes. I think they were up 23-3 and 35-8, and they coasted the rest of the way. He's got that team playing really well. I suspect whether it's Aaron Scott, Davon Smith, or R.J. Lewis, a couple of those guys are going to start hitting three-pointers, and they're going to be a real load going forward. Hopefully, we play them the same way we did last time, give ourselves a chance to win. And if you win that game, a whole outlook for February changes with a win there. So it's a big chance to hope. Quick note on the officiating from last night. I really don't want to say much, except I've never seen a situation where the referees got the right call on the floor, spent 5 minutes looking at it where it was more obvious that they had the right call, and reversed it to the wrong call on that three-pointer at the end. Thank God it didn't hurt us, but that's very, very rare do you see that. And I really think that the league should reprimand or punish the referees involved for doing something that egregious. Last 2 points are the guys I mention all the time. Oswin or Rumsey, he, just to give you the numbers, he averaged 4 points and 4.8 rebounds and just under 1 block in non-conference play. In conference play, he's averaging 7 points, 7 rebounds, 2.8 blocks, and shooting 74% from the field. He's just getting better and better, and he's doing this against top competition. He's not going against Central Connecticut. I don't want to knock them. They're having a good year. But, he's not doing it against Delaware State or any of these other programs. He's doing this against some of the top schools and some of the top big men in the country. My last one, of course, is the way I always finish, Corey Floyd, because he earns it. Again, he was the best player on the floor again last night for the Friars, in my opinion. Fully stuffed the stat sheet at 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. Didn't shoot particularly well, but he was putting the clamps on Isaiah Coleman, who looked like he was probably better off not playing the way Corey shut him down. So, that was a big thing. The last thing I want to mention about Corey is I mentioned last time how strong his KenPom numbers were. Well, if you go into him even more, KenPom does this thing. He has the total numbers with his offensive rating, rebounding rates, everything else. Then he does the top tier A and B, which is your top 100 teams in the country, and tier A opponents that you're going up against, which is the top 50. One thing you notice about Corey across the board, his offensive numbers are great. He's in the top 7% in the country still. It's actually gotten better than the last time I referenced it. But if you look at his tier A and B numbers, they're even better. And if you look at his tier A numbers against the top 50 teams in the country, they're even better again. It's one of those things, almost straight across the board, every part of his game is getting better against better competition. Part of that is because he's playing so well lately and we're into the conference schedule. But it's just one of those things that he does all the things that you notice. He's scored in double figures for the 5th straight game. He's averaging, I think, 11 or 12 a game lately. But he does the things you don't see as well. He had a couple of deflections last night. Besides shutting Isaiah Coleman down, he blocked other people. He had a tap out. He didn't get the rebound, but he tapped it away. These are the things that we're going to see going forward. And I think, again, if tie it a full circle, I give Kim a ton of credit for noticing these things, keeping him on the floor more. He's basically settled the rotation down where he's got his core and other guys filling in around him. And just the whole atmosphere, the whole attitude of the team is so much better. We've seen in the last few weeks. Really makes you want to enjoy the games. I'm hoping to get down to New York for the St. John's Saturday. If not, I'll be watching it there. And I'll definitely be next week wearing the pink for the pink out against Creighton. So once again, go Friars.